I declare that the 508th Convocation of McMaster University for the conferring of degrees is now in session.
Please be seated. Good afternoon. My name is Dr. Peter Smith, Acting Provost and Vice President Academic of the University. This afternoon, I have the great pleasure of acting as your Master of Ceremonies and of welcoming you all to Convocation. Before we start our formal program, may I first ask everyone in the hall to switch off any electronic device that may ring or beep during the ceremony. I would like to now call upon our Chancellor, Dr. Linton Wilson, to make his own welcoming remarks.
Thank you, Provost, and a very good afternoon to you all. President, Vice Chancellor, President of Mohawk College, Vice President Academic, Mohawk College, Provost, Dean Wilkinson, our honorary graduand, members of the Platform Party, graduands, ladies and gentlemen, a very warm welcome to this 508th Convocation of McMaster University. To our graduands, my congratulations on your successes, on reaching an important milestone, an exciting milestone in your lives. Many of you will begin careers, embarking on new journeys. Some of you will be continuing your education, training, or preparation for more advanced or specialized activities. The very best of luck to each and every one of you. To the parents, grandparents, family members, spouses, and friends here today, I invite you to take a bow as well. You can be proud of the roles you've played in the accomplishments being recognized in this convocation. To our faculty and staff, today marks tangible recognition of your efforts, particularly the successes of your students evident in this ceremony. Thank you and congratulations. This is a day of celebration. I should warn you that we had the usually exuberant nurses at Convocation this morning. I trust that you engineers will live up to your competitive professional reputations and demonstrate an appropriate level of enthusiasm this afternoon. I wish you all an enjoyable Convocation.
I would like now to introduce Dr. Patrick Dean, President and Vice Chancellor, who will be presenting our honorary degree recipient.
Mr. Chancellor, by the authority of the Senate of McMaster University, I have the honor to present Kurt Strobel. Dr. Kurt Strobel was raised in Namibia and earned a mechanical engineering degree at the University of the Witwatersrand in South Africa. He pursued graduate studies first at the University of Munich, then at McMaster University, where he received his PhD in mechanical engineering, specializing in modeling and optimization of complex batch-operated circuits. After graduating from McMaster, Dr. Strobel joined Hatch Associates, a small Canadian engineering firm, in 1973. His work began here in Hamilton, but soon took him to South Africa, where he worked with the Hatch team assigned to the planning of a new mine and processing complex for Quebec Iron and Titanium Limited. The project involved novel approaches to dredge mining of fine beach sand ore, innovative fluid bed roasting and magnetic separation, and a unique electric furnace smelting process. By the 1980s, Dr. Strobel had established himself as one of the premier senior project principals on greenfield expansion and modernization projects. He led some of Hatch's most important assignments, including the Richards Bay million-ton project that earned South Africa's Best Managed Project Award in 1994. Dr. Strobel's contributions were pivotal in delivering projects that supported underprivileged citizens, provide safer workplaces, and accommodated environmental priorities. As a manager and engineer, Dr. Strobel is known for his frequent use of innovative designs. He played a key role, for example, in the development of a new HCI leaching process to upgrade sorrel slag, UGS. Hatch's leadership in various UGS projects since has led to Hatch winning the Project Management Institute's International Project of the Year Award for 2008. Dr. Strobel's success in the field led to a progression of increasingly senior positions with Hatch. He became the firm's senior project executive and then became vice president of computer systems, then vice president of engineering, then global managing director of industrial minerals, and finally global managing director of light metals. He was elected president and CEO by the company's board of directors in 2004, installing Dr. Strobel as the leader of an organization that he had helped build, particularly in the globalization of the business in South Africa, Australia, Chile, and Brazil. As chairman and CEO, he is responsible for 9,000 employees in 80 offices on 6 continents, with capital projects totaling more than $50 billion under management. During his leadership tenure, Hatch has won more than 60 international project management and safety awards, while maintaining its designation as one of Canada's 50 best managed private companies. Here in Canada, Hatch has received scores of industry awards, including awards of excellence from the Canadian Consulting Engineer and the Association of Consulting Engineers of Canada. He has also received a number of individual honors, including being named a Fellow of the Canadian Academy of Engineering. In 2008, McMaster's Faculty of Engineering presented Dr. Strobel with the L.W. Schemmelt Distinguished Engineering Alumni Award for his contributions to the engineering profession, to society, and to the university. In fact, Hatch has long been an active partner of the universities, and Dr. Strobel has played a key role in Hatch's significant philanthropy and engagement with McMaster University. Mr. Chancellor, Kurt Strobel is a member of the McMaster family and an engineering and business leader with global profile and influence. He has achieved great success as a working engineer, an innovator, a manager, and a corporate leader. I ask that you recognize his accomplishments by conferring upon Dr. Strobel the degree Doctor of Science honoris causa.
Kurt Strobel, by the authority of McMaster University Senate, I have the great pleasure to confer upon you the degree Doctor of Science honoris causa in McMaster University, with all the rights and privileges pertaining to that degree. Congratulations to you.
Thank you.
It's now my great pleasure and privilege to invite Dr. Strobel to deliver the Convocation address. Dr. Strobel.
Chancellor Wilson, President Dean, Dean Wilkinson, members of faculty, graduates, and guests. May I also add my congratulations to all graduates here today. Your dedication and commitment in the pursuit of knowledge brought you this far. Looking around, even though it's a little dark, I can see many smiles. You should be proud, exceptionally proud and happy today for this achievement. You should also be proud knowing that your degree from the university, that you have a degree from a university that is highly recognized internationally. McMaster has been ranked in the top 100 universities out of 1,200 international universities for the past 8 years. In fact, the last ranking listed McMaster as only one of 3 Canadian universities in the top 100. Like you, I also graduated from McMaster 39 years ago. In those days, engineering students walked around with a box of punched cards to show that they were taking the tough courses. I wonder what you do today when everybody has an iPad or a PC. I'm delighted to be back here today and feel deeply humbled to receive this special honor. I thank McMaster and those responsible for this recognition. My 3 years of study and research at McMaster for my PhD gave me the necessary knowledge and confidence that allowed me to develop an exceptionally challenging and satisfying career at Hatch. I joined Hatch in 1973 when there were just 300 staff in Canada. Today, our company has grown to over 8,000, as you just heard, with more than 60 offices around the world. Dr. Hatch, our founder, and many of my colleagues and friends, along with my family, are here today. This is an opportunity to thank them for their mentorship, support, and teamwork, both at Hatch and in our family. I'm proud to be part of a great Canadian success story at Hatch, a company with a special culture and a passion for innovation and excellence. Today, however, I want to talk more about you and your opportunities that lie ahead. You've just earned a degree and must be asking, what comes next? What opportunities are there? Are you going to make the right career choices? Michelangelo, the great artist and architect born over 500 years ago, said, "The greater danger for most of us lies not in setting our aims too high and falling short, but it's setting our aim too low and achieving them." Michelangelo must have inspired a lot of people, and engineers in particular like you, considering how the world has changed through scientific, technical, and engineering achievements over the past 500 years. I hope that you will be equally inspired to set yourself special targets and to be part of making the world a better place. To do that, you must have confidence in what you know and able to do. If you feel some lack of confidence, you have to gain more knowledge and experience to develop the necessary confidence. George Herbert, an English poet, said, "Skill and confidence are an unconquered army." Along with confidence and knowledge, the other ingredients for success are energy, enthusiasm, perseverance, positive thinking, and last but not least, integrity and honesty. Those attributes can be summed up by one word: attitude. To quote Winston Churchill, "Attitude is a little thing that makes a big difference." The right attitude combined with competence will produce success. Success in finishing an assignment or project, and ultimately success in what we wish to achieve in life. Here we are in June 2012. You have a great education, you are ready to start a career, and all one sees and reads in the media are reports of economic problems, around the world. European governments and banks are in trouble. China and India's economy appear to be switching to a low gear. You've heard them all. There are many experts on the subject, politicians, bankers, economists, so I won't attempt to analyze or present solutions. What I do know is that these economic cycles are a reality and we have to deal with them. They don't last forever. The sun will shine again after a rainy day. For most of you here today, you are fortunate that you live in Canada, a country blessed with abundant resources and opportunities, and a much healthier economy than most other developed countries. Many of you will have seen the report in this week's national paper that Canada was ranked #1 in the G20 countries in opportunities for women. I'm pleased to see so many women in this year's graduating class as well. The world population has just passed, by one estimate just a few months ago, the 7 billion mark, and it is predicted to exceed 9 billion by 2050, only 38 years from now. In the developing world, people are working to raise their standard of living, while those in the developed world are trying to maintain their quality of life. In both cases, the fundamental needs of society are the same: sustainable and efficient food production, excellent education at all levels, from preschool to post-secondary education, the best health care, reliable urban and rural infrastructure, including the essential water, modern communication systems, and reliable and more renewable energy sources for our modern lifestyle. This list can be extended, but it highlights that there will be significant challenges to raise the standard of living in a sustainable way for a growing world population. These challenges represent unlimited opportunities for you as engineers and other scientists. You are the next generation that will be at the forefront to contribute to solutions, innovations, and technologies for a sustainable future. If you're not sure where your career should take you, those fundamental areas that are listed will have ongoing strong demand and great opportunities for you. Our efforts to accommodate 9 billion people on the globe will need significant innovations and new technologies. That in turn needs a strong commitment to research and development. In Canada, we need a much stronger support from our federal and provincial governments to fund research and resulting technology innovations. Canada has the means to match other countries that lead the way in research funding. Our standard of living in the developed societies is largely supported by a high level of energy consumption. Whether it's electricity, transportation, and heating fuels, modern society cannot function without them. We need energy for our homes, schools, hospitals, farming, transportation, communication. The list is endless. In the US and Canada, we consume approximately double the amount of energy per capita that is consumed on average in Europe, 8,000 kilograms of oil equivalent per year. The ratio for the developing world is about 10-1. And it's good to know that this audience actually understands these numbers. Although new resources of coal, oil, and gas are being discovered, ultimately they are a limited resource and contribute to our carbon footprint. Great strides are being made in developing alternative and renewable sources. However, today they contribute only a small percentage of our total energy needs. Again, there are many opportunities for engineers to contribute to clean and sustainable solutions in the energy field and their more efficient use and conservation. In conclusion, I've done some research on the name of our alma mater. You all know that McMaster is celebrating its 125th anniversary. It was founded in 1887 in Toronto and moved to Hamilton in 1930 and was named after Senator William McMaster. The name McMaster, you may, however, wish to remember as a mirror that reflects its culture, values, and teachings, which I will summarize as follows. The two M's in McMaster stand for Michelangelo, who said you should set high personal standards. The C in Mac stands for the importance of competence and confidence, and I will add communication. The A stands for attitude, namely a positive one, a can-do attitude in the face of challenge. The S stands for sustainability and the importance of a sustainable future for society. The T stands for technology and innovation and the importance of research and development. And the E stands for energy, the energy that we bring to our daily lives and the importance of clean, renewable, efficient energy solutions to support modern society. Lastly, the R stands for recreation and a balanced lifestyle, which makes our personal efforts more effective and sustainable. You will all be the best judges how to achieve that balance. I hope I've shown you that as young, bright graduates with the right attitude and energy, there are many opportunities to learn and contribute to a better future for yourself and the next generation. Finally, a quote from Ralph Waldo Emerson, an American poet. "Do not go where the path may lead. Go instead where there's no path and leave a trail." Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Strobel, for those thoughtful and wise pieces of advice for the graduates here today. Your life's work has been highly successful. The firm that you're associated with has grown and developed and become a Canadian icon in the world, and you're to be congratulated for your efforts there. We also are very pleased that you're a second-time alumnus of McMaster University. Thank you very much.
Dr. Patrick Dean will now come forward to present the graduands to our Chancellor for admission to their degrees.
Will the graduands please rise? Mr. Chancellor, on behalf of McMaster University Senate, I present to you these candidates in order that you may confer the appropriate degrees and diplomas upon them, and I bear witness that they are worthy and suitable.
Graduands, by my authority and that of the McMaster University Senate, I have the great pleasure to admit you to your individual degrees in McMaster University with all of the rights and privileges pertaining to those degrees. My sincere congratulations to you all.
Please be seated. Mr. Chancellor, on behalf of McMaster University Senate, may I also request that you confer the appropriate degrees in absentia upon all those candidates who have successfully completed the required course of study, but who are not present.
I declare all these degrees conferred in absentia.
Graduates, I now ask each of you to join me on stage so that the Chancellor and I may welcome you into the McMaster community of scholars.
Ladies and gentlemen, it would be appreciated if during the presentation of the graduates, you would hold your applause until the end of each degree category. Thank you. Mr. Chancellor, may I present to you the following graduates of the degree Doctor of Philosophy. Kyla Nicole Sask. Siam Ami. Ping Liu. Gaitha Mahadevan. Martha Anna Prince. Song Tao Yang. Anthony Franklin Capito. Barry Alexander Polinchuk. Lynn Han.
Mohammed Hassan Uz Zaman. Rasha Abdel Ibrahim. Zara Locke. Paul Pieter Malace. Mehdi Ranjbaran. Matthew Ryan Ball. Xiao Elaine Chen. Wan Kong. Morteza Amoreze. Jafar S. Alani. Mohammed Ahmed Abu Gabal El Sayed. Ahmed Mohammed Fayez Khalifa. Wen I Wu. Mr. Chancellor, may I present to you the following graduates of the degree Master of Science. Manar Munir Hassan Malhem. Mavash Balak. Kian Hu. Lulu Deng. Weiguang Zhang. Mr. Chancellor, may I present to you the following graduates of the degree Master of Applied Science. Cheryl Druchok. Michelle Lynn Lepalude. Azra Zainab Markar. Chong Wu. Dan Chen. Meng Li. Carly Forsyth. Barry Foster. Yogesh Chinta Venkateswaru. Philip Matthew Chernko. Benson Yang. Marco Goshmanek. Deepak Ariyana Yagam. Cameron Derry. Joseph Khoury. Kevin Robert Noble. Tae Shi Yu Zhu. Mahmoud M. Marzouk. Yao Song. Mr. Chancellor, may I present to you the following graduates of the degree Master of Engineering. Guanying Tan. Amal Mahmoud Al-Hayari. Amar Shalan Al-Mashiki. Mandeep Singh Basra. Inderpal Singh Basi. Sapinder Kaur Danoa. Maget Diedhu. Zhangji Fu. Mulikat Oled Haruna. Syed Nafisul Islam. Anirudh Iyer. Yasin Mohammed Khan. Kalimathan Mahanthiran. Sharanya Rajaratnam. Ophelia Ray. Puneet Saki. Samir Aziz Abdulhadi Al-Janabi. Pren Anand Ramananjam. Mr. Chancellor, may I present to you the following graduates of the degree Master of Engineering, Entrepreneurship, and Innovation. Arwa Khalid Alago. Abdulaziz Al-Hamdi. Fawaz Mahmoud Al-Hamoud. Muhammad Ali Al-Hashmi. Saeed Atari. Amir Chahichi. Lucas Diaz. Bassam Nader Gurgis. Mahmoud Hashim. Jonathan Michael Passarelli. Chaitanya Sunkara. Francisco Jose Valera. Stephanie Velarde Ramirez. Mubashir Wahid. And Zhao Sheng Zhang. Mr. Chancellor, may I present to you the following graduates of the degree Master of Engineering in Public Policy. Nadim Riaz Jafar. Philander Ku. Yasaman Sahab. Zhu Zhang. Mr. Chancellor, may I present to you the following graduates of the degree Master of Engineering Design. Brett Alexander Dixon. Edgar Francisco Soler.
Mr. Chancellor, may I present to you the following graduates of the degree Bachelor of Engineering and Management. Yassine Ali. Abdul Hamid Amarad. Michael James Armstrong. Alexander Bass. Jordan Binns. Vladimir Victor Brudelov. Matthew Campbell. Vanessa Chalawi. Anthony Chiarelli. Jeff Chung. Liam Mark Clubb. Brandon Douglas Corner. Mark Dalton. Michael Dawson. Benjamin Jordan Desclouds. Daniel Vincent D'Souza. Andrew David Ronald Deer McComb. Luke Dryber. Kyle Warren Eastwood. Daniel Elbert. Christopher Matthew Awazchuk. Vincent Anthony Fariolo. Jeffrey Norman Gerard. Ji Yun Gon. Jacob Gooch. Scott Gooding. McLean Kenneth Gordon. Blair Goslin. Emil George Haddad. Brian Christopher Hebor. Mitchell Highway. Rafat Hirmiz. Andrew Ho. Wilkie Hong. Lucas James Humberstone. Ogana Igwegba. Jeremy Frank Jacob. Zachary Johnson. Stephen Michael Jonkins. Amar Kalani. Douglas Kotelak. Christopher Kreutz. Graham Langdon. Michael Lazenby. Eric Lepaloud. Wan Han Lee. Kelvin Lung. Andrew Lee. Aaron Manchun Lee. Adrian David Liu. Joshua James Long. Dominic Chi Fong Lung. Ryan Loveday. Yi Lu. James Louis. Thomas William MacDonald. Michael Makarov. Alex Mao. Colin Patrick Murphy. Abram Johan Niles. Jeremy Edward Norman. Benjamin William Oliver. Adetutu Amalulu. Adedoyan Adeodan Asintogan. Shivani Patel. David Alexander Pettit. Michael Robert Ferris. Viana Phillips. Sean Pollock. Gary Raymond Perkis. Araya Ray Feruz. Navjeet Rial. Eric Sacchini. Ahmed Salman. Ashley Sebastian. Joey Ho Chung Sham. Nick Smith. Joshua Kyle Splain. Zachary Michael Staples. Colin Tadgell. Jonas Stephen James Tassie. Michael Taylor. Swati Tiaga. James Cameron Ververs. Andrew Michael Vincelli. Hong Wong. Jia Wong. Laura Christine Watkinson. Bricklin Mitchell Wilson. Stephen Zekin. Jeremy Zootman. Mr. Chancellor, may I present to you the following graduates of the degree Bachelor of Engineering in Biosciences. Laura Archula Bustos. Excuse me, the degree Engineering and Society. Alexander Martin Iwan. Sneha Bernard. Siraj Bardwaj. Ryan Bridge. Elisa Breyer. Jacqueline Page Byers. Ian Robert Oliphant Cornell. Kyle Randy Cormier. Brandon Reginald James Curtis. Josh DeBurr. Lindsay Ann Dokas. Nathan Downey. Christopher Effinger. Helena Gavrich. Anthony Giannopoulos. Joy Aroraj Nana Prakasam. Mitchell Kim. Pierre-Luc Ledreff Kerwin. Colin Lung. Teresa Ann Lubianski. Simon James Martin. Jordan Wayne McKinnahan. Michael David McKnight. Simon Pierre Manelli. Devesh Mistry. Alexander Griffin Page. Catherine Morgan Pereira. Kansas Price. Ramiz Rahman. Catherine Joy Silva. Anton Ivan Stefanik. John Trickett. Matthew Van Dyke. Rachel Wentworth. Amelia Isabel Wilk. Mr. Chancellor, may I present to you the following graduates of the degree Bachelor of Engineering and Biosciences. Sarah Charlong. Mengting Chen. Alice Lucy Mary Custard. Mark James Reed Dunham. Antonius Farmi. Andrew Kaza. Danielle Marie Maitland. Miles James Montgomery. Jacqueline Marie Obermeyer. Nishit Patel. Jacqueline Sim. Ryan Tice. Philip Alexander Tomanak. Han Wang. Mr. Chancellor, may I present to you the following graduates of the degree Bachelor of Engineering. Mohammed Abu El Naga. Umair Hafiz Ahmad. Faiz Ahmad. Walid Syed Ahmed. Ridula Ajit Kumar. Gibran Akbar. Majed Al Abdul Latif. Mustafa Mahmoud Alam. Tamima Alam. Jacob Alexander. Safa Arlia. Aya Ali. Dan Andronescu. Benjamin Rhodes Stewart Ankenman. Shafarina Diana Anur Sharudin. Thomas Archichevsky. Sean Douglas Arscott. Graham Edward Ashby. Sunny Attard. Nicole Francis Bacci. Asadullah Beg. Gaurav Bajaj. Nilanthi Balendra. Corey Ballantyne. Ayobama Olawamayokan Balogan. Edward Matthew Stanley Balick. Moet Kumar Bagotra. Akshay Balerao. Shardul Bikar. J. Cameron Boychuk. Kevin Michael William Boyd. Eric Spencer Brown. Julian Alexander Brown. Jonathan William Bunting. Adrian Berlachu. Zachary Paul Sano. Adam Joseph Casiato. Joseph Danrev Castroverde. Raymond Manhon Chung. Stephanie Chuksi Chung. Apsara Singh Chachi. Philip Lok Chun Choi. James Lee Chong. Jacinta Onefeme Chunu. Jeffrey Ryan Clare. Curtis Clark. Gavin J.E. Cleary. Adam Eric Christopher Collins. Jillian Collins. Matthew Robert Colton. Matthew Colvin. Michael Conjusti. Stephen Victor Craig. Morgan James Cunningham. Grant Paul Custard. Robert Michael Cuthbert. Franklin D'Souza. Omar Dakazalani. Olanihi Yusuf Dawadi. Joseph Mario De Filippis. Christopher John DeFina. Clyde Salorm Deletsu. Bavik Desai. Gary Dew. Gurveer Denoa. Samuel Dick. Cameron Victor DiPietro. Darrell James Dipple. Harry Dodu Amu. Lynn Leanne Doney. Michael James Richard Dorgo. Radu Dragusin. Sartaj Singh Dua. Michael Francis Dvorak. Kenneth Eka. Ahmed El Ganzouri. Daryl Farrow. Alvin Fonseca. Daniel Brian Foote. Brendan Michael Fersina. Catherine Marissa Godinsky. Daniel Gelman. Misha Gevin. Jatishwar Gill. Carlos Jovan Go. Alexander Ontero Gomez. Gregory Neal William Gomez. Slade Michelle Goulet. Marco Greenwich. Paula Emily Gersovic. Patrick Francis Greer. Thomas Joseph Griffithong. Devin Ronald Gross. Ramiz Ghulam. Teng Guo. Farhad Habibi. Elio Haddad. Andrew David Haynes. Hamoyan Hajir Amiri. Nicholas James Hall. Tyler William Hall. Amin Awadallah Ismail Hamouda. Mamoon Awadallah Hamouda. Manoush Hamzelu. Yaqub Hana. Jacob Berkeley Harper. Syed Hassan Hashmi. Syed Aman Hassan. Julie Hemley. Christopher Henderson. Eric Hendricks. Mark Hervius. Peter Edward Hill. Omar Hindi. Melissa Carmen Ho. Lynn Hockheim. James Gary Hoffman. Sayed Hosseini. Hai-Ying Hu. Xiang Hu. Hao Huang. Xin Huang. Calvin Lorne Hutchinson. Ricky Hoon. Caleb Ingram. Hina Iqbal. Ryan Carl Jacob. Rohit Jayaprakash. Dylan Jayasinghe. Jing Jia. Xianlong Jiang. Yan Jin. Madeline Patricia Joyal. Curtis James Judd. Casey Ulick Trojan. Kafil Kamal. Parathi Kandia. Raheel Khan. Steve Kick. Michael Do-Young Kim. Marcin Paul Klock. Ding Kong. Nijaput Kongwanarat. Catherine Krolicki. Shi Peng Lai. Quincy Che Him Lam. Moritz Maximilian Letzel. Bonita Wing Leun Lau. Justin Leary. Jordan Lee. June Lee. Kai Chin Lee. Kok Leong Lee. Natasha Leong Sem. Saruna Lechmanen. Kwang Nien Lee. Jia Shi Lee. Stephen Lee. Thomas Lee. Wanlik Lee. Wei Lin. Matthew William Little. Yi Liu. King Sang Lo. Colin Joseph de Rosario Lobo. Anton Lauder. Luke Anthony Lorenzini. Justin Hainwai Lum. Yu Luo. Shongshen Luo. Craig Andrew McDonald. Jeffrey Michael McDonald. Saman Madhve Shahandini. Gregory Edward Maines. Faraz Majid. Elias Makamalbaf. Ali Malik. Timothy John Manas. Nathan Patrick Massatelli. Nur Sabrina Matt Baran. Michael Main. Ryan Adrian Beno Mahalak. Daryl McClure. Justin John McComb. Garrett McConville. Laura McCracken. Michael McDonald. Virgil McLaren. Paul Michael McMullen. William Alexander Merritt. Stephen Douglas Mayer. Francois Miljour. Mohammed Ayman Hafif Mohammed Hafez. Ahmed Mohammed. Michael Moore. Patrick Moore. Marco Adele Marcos. Robert Frank Moreau. Andrew Morrissey. Shoaib Sanwar Mozid. Ryan Nicholas Murphy. Peter Shankar Narajaran. Luke Randall Nagy. Arish Nithani. Yashadini Natarajan. Joshua Mark Newell. Persis Esther Newton. Trong Nguyen. Jeffrey Nye. Kai Charles Keith Nymanen. Elias Hassan Nur Hassan. Dennis Mario M. Noharana. Ogene Tega Ann Ogor. Jennifer Patia. Felix Pan. Rima Pandaya. Ana Rosa Paredes Morales. Yannick Parkinson. Hitesh Patel. Krishna Patel. Malav Patel. Murgesh Patel. Sanket Kumar Patel. Humayun Patwari. Marguerite Helen Peacock, Anuja Partbath Pereira, Benjamin Peters, Justin Palika, David Pimentel, Fabricia Pinero, Daniel Pinelli, Nicholas Prosha, Ahmed Kasmeya, Rowan Keshawi, Humaid Qureshi, Srihari Radhakrishnan, Sahed Rahim, Ali Rahman, Elena Ramirez Cortez, Hanit Singh Randhawa, Jishan Razvi, Joseph Benjamin Ritzma, Kristen Elise Roca, Andrew Thomas Rohrbacher, Gurdeep Saota, Saeed Mod Faisal Saeed Ab Wahab, Brian Sale, Mitab Samra, Cameron James Sapp, Shankar Sarkar, Taralyn Schwering, Alexander Victor Shigalo, Daryl Sedran, Miguel Magdi Sharawi, Peter Magdi Helmi Shafiq, Hardik Shah, Daniel Shankar, Bilal Ahmed Akhtar Shirazi, Ashish Shukla, Abrar Sid Ahmed, Troy Michael Silva, Jeremy Scott Simpson, Byron Sinclair, Kulwant Singh, Manmeet Singh, Maithrayan Sirapanlan, Patirik Squarnco, Heather Melissa Smith, Caitlin Smith, Marco Dusan Sobot, James Robert Stone, Alexander Gordon Subotic, Wen Sun, Sihun Sung, Jordan Arthur Switzer, Jimmy Ping Hang Tam, Shuo Tang, Travis Dean Taylor, Alexander Bennett Teno, Manivana Tivathansan, James George Thorburn, Amin Tis, Peter Trung, Tam Trung, John Peter Vandermullen, Ryan Cornelius Vanderberg, Raj Vashi, Matthew Velatsko, Joseph William Velocci, Nicolo Vucinic, Drasko Vukanovic, Roshni W. Francis, Daniel George Waldy, Kyle James Walsh, Brandon Waters, Brendan Paul Whelan, Katrina Faye White, Jason Wong, Mu Chun Wu, Sherry Ji, Jun Jing, Sinan Salim Yashi, Alex Yip, Sukjin Yoon, Timothy Young,
Daniel Scott Yerkowicz. Umar Kamal Zafar. Sayeda Rida Zainab. Omar Zaitun. Vasien Zango. Hao Zhang. Maud Afian Zulkarani. Laura Zwire.
Mr. Chancellor, may I present to you the following graduates of the degree Bachelor of Applied Science. Ka-Hu Chow. Fahan Khan. Nathan Timothy Kruger. Brian Robert Miller. Christo Mitov. Kang Shi. Colin Stewart. Mr. Chancellor, may I present to you the following graduates of the degree Bachelor of Technology. Peter Adeyemi. Scott Aird. Ankush Bali. Jasmeet Batal. Neagosh Bahelich. Compton Augustus Bob. Karam Bunny. Andre Chalone. Monica Correa Wheels. Alessandra Cozzi-Torto. William Michael Cutting. Anderson D'Souza. Adnan Eldada. Aaron Herbert Gerlach. Jan Nina Gu. Manoj Gulati. Sean Hall. Ron Harwood. Adam Tyson Kapheim.
Matthew Robert Ryan Main. Paul Medeiros. Adam Jonathan Messina. Kevin Mitchell. Harmanjeet Mundy. Ganesh Kumar Nagarajaya. Bernard Francis Edward Parsons. Tim Pollock. Roberto Ribeiro. Mohit Shatdeva. Iman Sadiq. Adam Scott. Farzad Sheikh. Adriana Spihalaska. Daniel Sturpey. Jawad Tariq. Surab Teoshia. Mirjana Terzovic. Alan Topic. Albert Trevisan. Wen Zhu.
Mr. Chancellor, may I present to you the following graduate of the Graduate Diploma in Nuclear Technology. Mariam Eskandari.
Ladies and gentlemen, I would now like to introduce you to Ms. Madeleine Joyal, a graduate of the Bachelor of Engineering program, who will be delivering the valedictory address.
Chancellor, Mr. President, Dean Wilkinson, distinguished faculty, honored guests, graduates, family, and friends. We've made it to the final convocation ceremony of the week, and clearly they've saved the best for last. I think you'll all agree that we must thank the many people who together have made it possible for each of us to be sitting here today. On behalf of the graduating class, I'd like to express my gratitude to the faculty and support staff who have made our time at McMaster not only educational, but enjoyable and memorable. The quality of program delivered by the engineering faculty at McMaster has allowed us to achieve a level of academic excellence and develop a sound knowledge base that exceeded all of our expectations. Thank you to the families of the graduates. By allowing us the freedom to choose a career that we're passionate about, and by pushing us to realize our full potential, you have been instrumental in shaping the graduates before you today. Finally, I need to personally thank this graduating class. Without the help, support, and of course, competition of my peers, I would never have had the strength or motivation to have come this far. I'm honored and humbled to have been selected as your valedictorian. My dad has always described a university degree as an investment. I think this holds especially true in engineering. It's an investment in both our future and that of society. So we've invested our money, or our parents' money, or the government's money. But more importantly, we've invested our time, our best efforts, and our heart and soul into the degree that was just presented to us. So how do we measure the value of that investment in our degree? We may not remember every detail of theory that we learned during our time at McMaster. For instance, I know there's a way to calculate sine or cosine without using a calculator. I'm even pretty sure it involves a Fourier series, but I don't know about the rest of you. I couldn't do it today if you paid me. What we will remember are the important concepts, the application of that theory, and the work ethic and teamwork that were so essential to success as an engineering student. These will be the determining factors in our future success as engineers. As this class rises to become the next generation of engineers, we'll remember not only our academic achievements, but also our involvement outside of the classroom. We will always be grateful to the faculty and staff for the theory and concepts that form our knowledge base as emerging engineers. But it's the out-of-classroom experiences and accomplishments that have me convinced that this 2012 graduating class is exceptional, and that we will not only be great engineers, we will be leaders and change makers. As my fellow graduates are well aware, reaching this stage has required enormous dedication to studies. However, the commitment that this class has also displayed to voluntary activities and projects is outstanding. Among us here today, we have members of a cast and crew who wrote, produced, and starred in an original musical, members of the championship Vanier Cup football team, and players from so many other varsity sports, members of a team who designed and built a cutting-edge solar car, members of a team who built a concrete toboggan and dared to race it down a hill, and of course, a dedicated team of students from each and every one of the engineering disciplines who have run competitions, social events, publications, clubs, committees, first-year orientation, and so much more on behalf of both the Department of Engineering and McMaster. So more than I remember the time spent in lectures and labs, I remember cheering on a concrete toboggan until I literally had no voice left. I remember the fire truck showing up as we poured concrete for our Kipling prank. I remember hours spent in the library. Not those hours necessarily spent studying, but the hours we spent procrastinating together, trying to deny the exam stress, and doing anything and everything to delay actually studying. And in none of these memories was I acting alone. It's not my own achievements that stand out for me. It's the things that we achieved together. The feats that I originally thought impossible were not only accomplished, but far exceeded expectations when we worked with each other. It's the commitment of this class to each of these endeavors that speaks volumes about our potential. And so in the end, we've done it. No more hours spent clicking back and forth, trying desperately to log into Solar to register for that one key elective. No more Kappa problems or chemistry quizzes. And no more late nights in the library trying to relearn, or in some cases, learn for the first time, a course in the last 24 hours before the exam. But it's not an ending. It's a beginning. Today, we transition from students into alumni. Today, our investment in this degree starts to pay off. Now is the time to prove to ourselves, our families, and everyone who believed in us that our university careers were a worthwhile investment, one that will pay dividends for us and for society, which will in turn benefit from our commitment to learning and from our continued dedication to the profession that we have chosen. It's our turn to take the investment that was made in our education, our skills, and our experiences, and in turn to invest ourselves into solving problems and addressing the diverse needs and challenges in society today. If we are to believe that engineers rule the world, which really is the first thing that I learned when I came to Mac, then there's a huge responsibility on our shoulders as we move forward. I know that we're the right group of graduates to take this on, and we're ready. And for completing this first step in our journey, each and every one of us has earned that ring on our finger and the paper that we've just received. We've earned it and can be proud. So congratulations, graduates. I can't wait to see what we'll accomplish next.
May I again call upon our President, Dr. Patrick Dean, who will present the President's Award of Excellence in Instruction and the President's Award of Excellence in Student Leadership.
First, the President's Award for Excellence in Instruction. Would Philip Koshy please come forward? Dr. Philip Koshy is a gifted and caring professor who exudes passion and enthusiasm in his teaching. His dedication to students, along with his caring and thoughtful approach to teaching, and his ability proactively to develop a rapport with his students are reflected in the consistently high teaching evaluation scores he receives each year. Dr. Habibi, chair of the Department of Mechanical Engineering, affirms that Phil is, quote, blessed with a knack for explaining seemingly difficult to comprehend concepts in simple terms with no loss of rigor and actually rendering it fun. He engages students and inspires them to learn, oftentimes even being able to positively reverse any initial adverse sentiment they may have had towards the course material. End of quote. As an associate professor in mechanical engineering, Dr. Koshy is an active researcher with a substantial portfolio of research publications, patents, and research honors awarded by his discipline. It is this love of research and scholarship that he shares with his students. They recognize the difficulty of the materials included in his courses, yet they praise the influence he has had on their thinking and on their career development. Dr. Koshy challenges his students to do their best with difficult material and then rewards them by showing them that they can perform beyond their expectations. He leads them to be the best they can be, and they appreciate it. He makes himself available to them individually, even into the small hours of the morning, working with them until the last student's needs are met, irrespective of the time commitment it requires. He works with them to develop research skills, resulting in numerous student authorships that greatly further his students' academic and professional careers. From recruitment through to and beyond graduation, he has not only been able to witness, but has also contributed to the development of his students into mature, productive citizens. Dr. Koshy is a scholar, an internationally recognized researcher, and a model of the teaching we value at McMaster. Instruction that integrates teaching with the excellent research environment provided by our professors is the key mark of this university. Dr. Koshy exemplifies this wedding of teaching with research, and is clearly deserving of a 2012 President's Award in Instruction. Congratulations, Phil. Fantastic work. Let's give him a photo up here. The 2012 recipient of the President's Award of Excellence in Student Leadership is Andrew Kasher. Andrew, please come up. A former member of the varsity track and field team and a 5-time Canadian champion in flatwater kayak events, Andrew Kasher is much more than one of McMaster's most diversely talented athletes. He is also one of McMaster's most successful student fundraisers. He organized a fundraising event in the aftermath of the Haiti earthquake, collecting money, clothes, and toys for victims of that disaster. He also captained the McMaster Movember team in 2010 and 2011 with distinction. This was the first McMaster-wide team in this nationwide campaign to support Prostate Cancer Canada. Andrew has directed significant volunteer energies to his academic program as well. This past year, he served as the Vice President External of the Bioengineering at McMaster Society, where his signature accomplishment was achieving greater cooperation among the societies representing chemical, electrical, and biomedical engineering students. He helped build the Let's Talk Science initiative, a program that brings science to youth in the Hamilton community, as its rural outreach coordinator for nearly 3 years, and he helped lead the organization's pilot mentorship program as well. Andrew also worked as a research assistant in the Department of Chemical Engineering. As Vice President Finance of the McMaster University Golden Key Society, Andrew was responsible for a number of program improvements, including enhanced recognition of new members and greater regional and international exposure through McMaster participation in Golden Key conferences. In 2012, Andrew received the Albert Lager Prize for Student Leadership from the McMaster Alumni Association, a most deserving winner. Congratulations, Andrew. Well done. Fantastic. There you go. Well done.
May I call upon the Dean of Engineering, Dr. David Wilkinson, who will present the medals won by the Faculty of Engineering graduates.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to announce that the McMaster Association of Part-Time Students Gold Medal will be presented to Adriana Spichalski.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
May I now introduce you to Ms. Karen McQuigg of the McMaster Alumni Association, who will now deliver the Alumni Association address.
Chancellor Wilson, President Dean, President McIsaac, McMaster faculty, fellow alumni, honored guests, and members of the McMaster class of 2012. Over the course of its 125-year history, our university has granted degrees at convocation ceremonies in Toronto, on the McMaster campus in Hamilton, and more recently here at Hamilton Place. Our chancellors have shaken hands with graduands during Queen Victoria's reign, the Great Depression, the World Wars, and the Internet age. McMaster and Mohawk students have become alumni in eras and circumstances that have seemed unconnected to those before and after. Fashion, attitudes, learning styles, tuition fees, and cafeteria food, everything has changed. But regardless of era, those alumni we all, share a place in our alumni families. We are connected from year to year, from decade to decade, from generation to generation. McMaster classes, one and all. Each and every class is unique and, in truth, shares only two things with all others. The first is the great potential you have as new graduates as one of the truly great universities in the world. The second is that we all share a history with McMaster,
a familial connection, and a responsibility to it and to each other to build on the legacy we inherited and to continue our story of excellence. Playing a role in extending that legacy is easier than it sounds. The most important thing you can do is to contribute. Contribute to your professions, your avocations, your communities, and your families. Your achievements add shine to my degree and to the degrees of everyone wearing a graduation gown today. The other thing you can do is stay engaged. That's why the McMaster Alumni Association is here. You have in your hands our convocation booklet that describes our programs and opportunities to have you stay connected with your alma mater and your fellow Mac grads. There's a place for you all in the McMaster and Mohawk Alumni Associations. The McMaster Alumni Association was established in 1894 by the first graduating class of our university, a class of just 16 members. Today, we celebrate your successes as students and toast the promises of your bright futures as alumni. Your fellow Mac and Mohawk grads are proud of you today. We offer you our most sincere congratulations and a warm welcome to the McMaster alumni family, a family 125 years in the making.
May I invite Dr. Dean back to the podium to deliver his President's Address.
Mr. Chancellor, President McIsaac, Dr. Strobel, esteemed colleagues, graduates, ladies and gentlemen. Madeline alluded to the belief that engineers rule the world. And to some extent, that is the subject I want to speak about today. And I'm going to come at it in a rather oblique way. And I'm going to begin by quoting you the title of a rather obscure musical album that appeared in 2006. It was the work of an ambient trip-hop duo called Arms and Sleepers. And the name of the album was Bliss Was It in That Dawn to Be Alive. Bliss Was It in That Dawn to Be Alive. Now, this album appeared at about the same time most of you were just beginning to contemplate which university you would choose, which program of study might suit you, and what career option might best satisfy your talents, your temperament, and your inclinations. And today I would expect that at least some of you, and certainly a good number of your family, parents, and supporters, will be looking back at that time of choice and marveling at the distance you have traveled since then. Now, I'm sure as you sat there, weighing up one prospectus against the other, good sense against the pressure of your peers, fear of the unknown against the desire for adventure, I'm not sure you would have said you were in a state of bliss. My recollection from such discussions with my own children was far from blissful. These discussions usually ended up with books being slammed shut, people leaving the room, and the following being shouted at me, "Yes, Dad, but whose life is it anyway?" But to be poised at the opening of a new phase in your life, to have at least choices about how that phase will be constituted, to be able to dream of your future without thinking you may be proven naive for thinking that you have one, this is an experience of great privilege. And despite all the superficial anguish of making these kinds of choices, I know you will today recall the pregnant quality, the powerful promise of that moment back when you made your decisions. Bliss was it in that dawn to be alive. Now, if your taste doesn't run to ambient trip-hop music, but to literature, you might be aware and eager to point out to me that the actual source for that quotation, for the title of the album, is the English Romantic poet William Wordsworth. In the 10th book of whose long poem, The Prelude, the poet remembers the great excitement he felt in France when he arrived there in 1790, 1 year after the storming of the Bastille and the start of the French Revolution. The lines are very famous, and I'd like to read 5 of them to you today. O pleasant joy of hope, O pleasant exercise of hope and joy. For great were the auxiliaries which then stood upon our side, we who were strong in love. Bliss was it in that dawn to be alive, but to be young was very heaven. Now, I've chosen this as the text for my remarks today, certainly because you're on the whole young and gathered here today in a different pleasant exercise of hope and joy, this ceremony of graduation. But there is a good deal more to the parallel than this. Wordsworth's lines are about community. They evoke a powerful sense of a community confronting, reaching towards some sort of radical human transformation. What invigorates the speaker of the poem is the prospect of doing something great, but more than that, doing it together with, in partnership with others. That is the moment of revolution that's evoked in the poem. Both a community of people aspiring, but also community as the ideal of the aspiration. The goal is a new human dispensation, a society which is not just an agglomeration of faceless individuals in competition with one another, but an organism strong in love. That is the exact phrase Wordsworth uses. Now, it may be true that in every age, the young feel this need for a fundamental reconsideration and reconfiguration of the human order. But there are compelling reasons to regard the present as an age of revolution every bit as critical to that which began with the American Revolution in the last quarter of the 18th century, which included the French Revolution and continued for approximately 75 years. Many of you will be familiar with the term quiet revolution, which has a particular application in Canadian politics. It's usually used to refer to the transformation of Quebec during the 1960s. But it is also obviously relevant to the kind of dramatic and far-reaching shift in economic and social relationships that is presently underway on the world stage. I was recently in Brazil as part of the Governor General's educational mission to that country. And in one of our many meetings with Brazilian government and university officials, I was struck powerfully by the curious mixture of confidence and weakness, assurance and deference that defined our Canadian position. We were confident in our assumption that we had advantages that our Brazilian colleagues might want, a mature and world-class post-secondary system, for example. But we were less sure of ourselves in our awareness that this advantage is unlikely to continue for much longer, that very shortly the tables will be turned, and institutions in countries like our own will depend for their survival on their ability to adapt to a new world order, one radically different in which they are not dominant. Dr. Strobel spoke something of this change. About a month earlier, I was present when a similar scene played itself out in England, where I was attending the British Council's annual conference on global higher education. At the opening event, there were 1,400 delegates present from 120 different countries around the world, and we were addressed by a member of the British Cabinet. Now, this speaker was oddly oblivious to the reality that the people he was talking to were not all British entrepreneurs and educators, but they were in fact representatives from the breadth of the very market that he wished to exploit. And he spoke at some length about the need to cultivate and to sell abroad the British brand in higher education. The ironies attending this talk were profound, and I imagine not lost on many delegates there from Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, the BRICS countries as they've come to be known. Such nations in the developing world, so-called, having shaken off political subservience and begun to realize their considerable economic potential, are being invited back into a relationship with their previous masters, but this time in a new role as customers increasingly vital to the economies of those formerly dominant states. There's that combination again of assurance and abjection, confidence and weakness. And we see it in the British Cabinet Minister as in our delegation in Brazil. These are the symptoms of a quiet revolution that is underway across the globe, realigning power and wealth, problematizing relationships that have seemed settled since the 18th and 19th centuries, challenging the hegemony of received ideas, of what one might call normative Europeanness, and making it certain that the new world coming will not be predictable on the basis of the old. Now, what fuels my own sense of bliss at this moment is the feeling developed over the last few decades working with students in a number of Canadian universities, and particularly strong since my coming to Hamilton, that many of you are eager to engage with the globe, not only as it is right now, but also as it is in the process of becoming. Indeed, many of you have sought to take an active role in addressing environmental degradation, living conditions, suffering, violence, and inhumanity across the world. And we should be very proud of this, of the way in which what one might call a without borders sensibility has taken hold in your generation and given life to formal initiatives aimed at serving the world and its needs in difficult times. Now, you'll know the most influential of the models for these kinds of organizations is Doctors Without Borders, which also has a very strong McMaster connection through the person of Dr. James Orbinski, who was president of Doctors Without Borders at the time the organization received the Nobel Peace Prize in 1999. But Dr. Orbinski is also connected with another organization very germane to all of you, and that is Engineers Without Borders, a network of NGOs which began, in fact, in France in the 1980s, focused on international development work. And EWB at McMaster was last year named Chapter of the Year by the national organization. As an institution, we have a long and distinguished history of high-quality engagement with global problems. As many of you know, in the Faculty of Social Science, we host the McMaster Institute on Globalization and the Human Condition, established in 1998 to study globalizing processes and the way in which these bear upon our lives, upon our communities, and upon our environment. Arching over these and many other globally oriented activities at McMaster is our institutional membership in what is known as United Nations Academic Impact, which commits us to the practice of higher education and research in support of the global good. And several years ago, we dedicated ourselves through education to the realization of the Millennium Goals of the United Nations. There is a great deal of talk these days, either about globalization or about internationalization, particularly internationalization of higher education. And it is very important to think about what that might mean. For the greater good of our planet, it cannot mean simply the extension of predatory intentions from one culture or one country to other countries in the globe, which provide simply a source of wealth for the home country. I say all of this to indicate that while I could not be more encouraging, supportive, and admiring of your every move to be a force for global change, it is important that you not be so transported by the promise of this moment, by the exhilaration of being strong in love, to use Wordsworth's words, with your global brothers and sisters, that you fail to notice that your own interests may be different from theirs. In the face of so much global suffering, it is tempting to come bearing the gift of answers rather than the more valuable gift of questions. It is tempting to be assured and confident rather than abject, exploratory, and questioning in your approach to others. And more problematically even, you can find yourself engaged in remaking the other in your own image, failing to understand unfamiliar cultures, economies, and nations in terms other than a lack of what is valued and celebrated in your own paradigms. To close, a word about the outcome of the Brazil trip. The most gratifying outcome of that trip is confirmation that 12,000 Brazilian students will come to Canadian universities as part of their own government's Science Without Borders program. Science Without Borders is an international education initiative of extraordinary magnitude. It will provide scholarships to 100,000 Brazilian students, largely in the STEM disciplines, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, to pursue their studies at the best universities around the world. And because of its size, the program will have a major impact, not just on Brazil itself and its economic growth, but on universities like ours in all those countries fortunate enough to host scholarship students. For us in Canada and here at McMaster, there is the potential here for self-renewal and development, as our own paradigms and assumptions are challenged and modified by the presence among us of outstanding students from Brazil, as they should from students from other countries as well. And that must be the foundation of our engagement with the future and the globalized condition from which that future is inseparable. Traffic across borders must flow in both directions, as must the benefits of international engagement. Without that, a new world community, strong in love, will be an illusion, and the expectant bliss of our present moment will go unfulfilled. To all of you, our own Scientists Without Borders, my warmest best wishes for the lives and the careers you will make in the strange, unfamiliar, and rapidly changing territory that begins at the doors of this building. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, President Dean, for a very thoughtful, profound, inspirational talk, and leaving us all with questions that we should think about, all of us, and not necessarily the answers that we constantly seek. Both Dr. Dean and Dr. Strobel have talked about McMaster's international presence, the fact that we now are considered among the top universities in the world. This has been a development of the last several decades. I graduated here this week 50 years ago, and the university was celebrating its 63rd convocation. That was the first 75 years of the university, 63 convocations. Today we're at 508, and that's 445 convocations in the last 50 years. And that's simply a measure of the development of this university over this past 50 years, and the fact that the McMaster brand in the world is now very significant, important, and Dr. Strobel spoke to that as well. I realize the hour is now getting a little bit late, and I'm all that's between you and some refreshments and some celebrations. I did want to comment on the challenge that I threw out earlier. There was a palpable improvement in the enthusiasm of this convocation this afternoon. Congratulate you on that. I would say that you're pulling up close, maybe even with the nurses. One aspect of that is you certainly, I do all the handshaking, as does the President, and the handshakes from engineers are much firmer than those from the nurses in the morning. A couple of announcements before we adjourn. A reception will be held for graduates and their guests here in the Convention Center Wentworth Rooms B and C immediately following the ceremony. Flowers that have been delivered for graduates will be available at the coat check in the main lobby. I'd ask you to please remain standing at your seats until the academic procession and the graduates have left the hall. And I'd ask you now to rise and join with me in singing our national anthem. After the singing of the anthem, this convocation stands adjourned.
Thank you.